Hello friends, welcome to my channel IFRS World. I am Chandni Gupta and I help you understand IFRS or Ind AS with the help of my doodly videos and simplified notes. In today's video, we will discuss Ind AS 108, that is on operating segments. The objective of this index is to require the disclosure of information that enables the users of financial statements to evaluate the nature and financial effects of the types of business activities in which an entity engages and the economic environment in which it operates. This particular standard is applicable to all the companies that are required to comply with Ind AS. And these companies disclose this information separately as segment information. However, where an entity that is not required to comply with Ind AS but it chooses to disclose this information about segments that is not in accordance with this particular Ind AS, that particular entity will not describe the information as segment information. Further, where an entity presents consolidated financial statements as well as its separate financial statements, the segment information is required only in the consolidated financial statements. Now, let's understand what is an operating segment. So, it is a component of an entity that engages in business activities from which it may earn revenues and incur expenses. So, basically, earning actual revenues and incurring actual expenses is not a prerequisite, but if the particular component has a prospect of earning revenues and incurring expenses, then also it will be considered. For example, startup operations. Startup operations may be operating segments even before earning revenues. And these revenues and expenses also include any intergroup transactions. So the first condition is that that particular component engages in business activities from which it may earn revenues and incur expenses. Second is the component's operating results are reviewed regularly by the organization's chief operating decision maker, in short, CODM. CODM is not a particular person, but it is a function. It is a function that takes decisions regarding resource allocations and performance assessments of the operating segments of an entity. So the second condition is that the component's operating results are reviewed regularly by the organization's chief operating decision maker, that is CODM, to make decisions regarding resource allocation and performance assessment. Third condition is that the component's financial information should be available. So, in short, there are three conditions when a component will qualify as an operating segment. Number one is it engages in business activities from which it may earn revenues and incur expenses. Number second, that its operating results are regularly reviewed by CODM. Number third is that its financial information is available. Now that we understand the meaning of operating segment and what is a chief operating decision maker, so it is a function that allocates the resources and assess the performance of the operating segments of an entity. So generally, CEO and COO are considered as CODM, but it may also be a group of executive directors. Now let's understand the aggregation criteria. So any two or more operating segments may be aggregated into a single operating segment only if they have similar economic characteristics and they're similar in each of the following respects. So all of these below five criteria should be similar. Number one is the nature of the products and services should be similar. Then the nature of the production processes should be similar. Then the type and the class of customer for their products or services should be similar. Then the methods used to distribute their products or provide their services should be similar. And the nature of regulatory environment should also be similar. If these five criteria are similar and they have similar economic characteristics, then two or more operating segments may be aggregated into one single operating segment. Now that we understand what is an operating segment and when they can be aggregated, let's understand what are the reportable segments out of those operating segments. So, reportable segments are basically those operating segments that qualify the quantitative thresholds. Now, what are the quantitative thresholds? So, there are three quantitative criterias that are specified in this standard, and if an operating segment qualifies any of these three, it shall be qualified as a reportable segment and it will be reported separately. The first criteria is that the reported revenue, the external plus internal, should be 10% or more of the combined revenue of all the operating segments, internal plus external. Second criteria is that the reported profit or loss should be 10% or more of the greater of combined profit of all operating segments that did not report a loss, or the combined loss of all reporting segments that reported a loss. And the third criteria is that the total of assets should be 10% or more of the combined assets of all operating segments. Let's understand these quantitative thresholds with the help of an example. Suppose there are four segments, segment A, B, C, and D, and these are the reported profit or loss figures, revenue, and asset. Now let's check all these three criteria one by one. First of all, the profit or loss condition, which was that the reported profit or loss of the segment should be 10% or more of the greater of combined profit of all operating segments that did not report a loss, which in this case is 70,000, and the combined loss of all operating segments that reported a loss, which is 36,000 in this case. Now we need to compare the 10% of the greater of these two. That is the 70,000, which is the total profit, the greater of total profit and total loss. The 10% of this total profit, which comes out as 7,000, will be compared with the profit and loss figures of A, B, C, and D segments. We need to see the profit and loss figures in absolute numbers. So, in case of segment A, even though there is a loss of 30,000, we need to see it as an absolute figure. That means there is no negative or positive amount, all the numbers should be seen in positive manner. So, in any case, 30,000 is a bigger amount than 7,000. Hence, segment A qualifies the profit or loss condition. So does segment B. But in case of segment C, there is a loss of 6,000, which is anyway lesser than 7,000. Hence, segment C does not qualify this condition. Now, segment D also reports 50,000 of profits. Hence, segment D also qualifies for this condition. Second condition is the asset condition. Now let's understand. The total assets of the entity is 90,000. The 10% of it comes out as 9,000. Now the segments that reported total assets equal to or more than 9,000 will be considered as qualifying this particular condition. As you can see, all the segments have reported assets greater than 9,000. Hence, all the segments meet this condition. Third condition is the revenue condition. The total revenue of all the segments is 1,60,000, the 10% of which comes out at 16,000. Now we need to compare 16,000 with the revenues reported by all the segments. As you can see, segment A has reported a revenue of 10,000, which is lesser than 16,000. Hence, segment A does not qualify for this condition. Segment B has reported a revenue of 70,000, which in this case will qualify for the revenue condition. Segment C has reported a revenue of 20,000. Hence, segment C also qualifies for this condition. And segment D has reported a revenue of 60,000. Hence, segment D also meets this condition. Therefore, we can see that all the segments meet at least one of these three conditions. Therefore, all the segments will be considered as the reportable segment. Now, there are certain important points to be noted. Number one is that the total external revenue reported by these operating segments should be at least 75% of the total revenue of the entity. If that does not happen, then the entity will identify additional operating segments until the total external revenue is at least 75% of the total revenue of the entity. Another point is that the information about other business activities and operating segments that have not been identified as reportable segments shall be combined and shall be disclosed in an all other segments category. Now let's understand the disclosure requirements. So there are three major disclosure requirements. Number one is the general information. The general information that the entity is required to disclose is the factors that the entity has used to identify the reportable segments. For example, the products, the geographical area, etc. Number second is the judgments that the management has made in applying the aggregation criteria if the entity has aggregated the operating segments. And the third part is the type of products or services of the reportable segments. So basically, these three informations are required to be disclosed, and these are the general information. The other disclosure requirement is the information about profit or loss and assets and liabilities. So, about this, the important point to note is that an entity has to report, like there is a requirement to report the amount or any other measure of profit or loss for each reportable segment. But that is not the case with assets and liabilities. So, with respect to the assets and liabilities, an entity is required to report the total of assets and liabilities for each reportable segment only if those amounts and those measures are provided to CODM for decision making. In addition to these, there are certain information that is required to be disclosed if these information are regularly presented to CODM for the purpose of decision making. These are revenues, interest revenue and expense, depreciation and amortization, material items of income and expense, income tax expense, material non cash items other than depreciation and amortization, investment in associates or JV accounted for by the equity method, or the additions to non current assets other than financial instruments, deferred tax assets, net defined benefit assets, and rights arising under insurance contracts. Now, what will be the amounts and how the entity will measure the amounts to be reported? So, the standard clearly specifies that the amounts to be reported shall be the measures reported to CODM for the purpose of decision making. Therefore, the entity has to maintain the consistency and shall report the same measures and similar amounts that have been reported and that have been presented to CODM. So basically, the idea behind the segment reporting is that the users of the financial statements should also be aware of the measures and the inputs that are used by CODM for the purpose of decision making regarding resource allocation and performance assessment. Now, the standard requires an entity to present reconciliations for the measure of following amounts of the reportable segment with the entity's amounts. Number one is revenue, number two is profit and loss before tax and discontinued operations. Now, if the entity is allocating the tax expense or income, in that case, the reconciliation will be prepared between the profit and loss after tax of the reportable segment and of the entities. The third reconciliation is required for assets and liabilities if they are presented for the segments, and the fourth is for any other material amount that has been presented. So there are these three major disclosure requirements. Number one was the general information, number second was the information about profit or loss and the assets and liabilities, number third was the reconciliations. Now, certain points regarding comparative information that needs to be kept in mind. Number one is when there is a reportable segment which was reported in preceding period, but it does not qualify as a reportable segment in current period, but it is of a continuing significance, then the entity is required to report that particular reportable segment in current period as well, even if that segment does not qualify as a reportable segment in the current period. If a particular segment was reported in preceding period, but it does not qualify to be a reportable segment in current period, but it is of a continuing significance, then the entity shall report that particular segment separately. Another point is, when there is a segment that has been qualified as reportable in current period, but it was not a reportable segment in preceding period, in that case the entity is required to restate the preceding period presentation and report that particular segment separately in the comparative information. However, this restatement is not required if the information is not available and the cost would be excessive. The third point to note in this regard is, when there is a change in structure of the internal organization that has caused a change in the composition of reportable segments, and if the segment information for earlier period is not restated to reflect the change, in that case the entity is required to report that information separately for current period on both the old basis and new basis after the change in internal organization structure. Obviously, this reporting is not required if the information is not available and the cost would be excessive. Now, this Ind AS has also specified certain entity wide disclosures that are basically required to disclose by all the entities, including those that have only one single segment. These are information about the products and services. In this case, the entity is required to report the revenues from the external customers for each product and service. The second part is information about geographical areas. The entity is required to disclose external revenues and non-current assets that are attributable to domestic operations and foreign operations. The last part is information about major customers. When the revenues to a customer amounts to 10% or more of the total revenue of the entity is required to disclose the fact along with the amount. So guys, this was all about Ind AS 108, or you can say IFRS 8. If you have any queries, any doubts, please reach out to me. And for the summary notes, please drop an email at my email ID given in the description below. Also, it's chandni@ifrsworld.in. And stay tuned for more such videos. Please like, share and comment, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.